Hey everybody, welcome to my latest happy birthday video here on YouTube today. Today I'm making a video to celebrate the 75th birthday of one of my favorite actresses, Jane Seymour. Her birthday was actually yesterday, but because I was working I had to put off the video until today. So I hope you enjoy this video. I think I first became aware of Jane Seymour the first time I watched a movie that she was in. That movie was Oh Heavenly Dog. And I was a young teenager, about 13 I guess, when I first saw it. I think my parents rented it from the video movie shop in Chatham, Ontario, because it had the famous acting dog Benji in it. And we had not too long before this gone to the theater and seen the movie Benji the Hunted there. My brother and I both loved Benji. And also around this time, our family got a pet cat who we named Benjamin, or Benji for short. So Benji, not Jane Seymour, was the reason I first watched one of her shows. But once I actually watched Oh Heavenly Dog, I couldn't help but notice the beautiful actress who starred in it, and especially one thing about her in particular. I guess I've had a thing for long, beautiful hair on women just about as long as I've noticed them as objects of desire, and there was one scene in particular that struck me as I watched Oh Heavenly Dog. Jane Seymour's character is hurriedly walking out the doors of a big building into the sidewalk, and she is in such a hurry that she hasn't had time to fix her hair. Excuse me, I shouldn't have ate those peanuts before I started this video. Thought the water would wash them down. She was in such a hurry in the scene that she hadn't had time to fix her hair properly. As she's walking, she leans forward and her hair falls in front of her, so she flings it back over her head and keeps walking. I remember being a teenage and 20-something ball of raging hormones and purposely pausing the tape or DVD on that scene and playing it in frame-by-frame slow motion to get it in all its glory. Then, years later, after I had seen Jane Seymour in several other movies, miniseries, and TV shows, I formulated the idea to write a story supposing that I had grown up with someone who ended up as a famous singer, actress, and model, as my neighbor. I talked about this story in my last video about Deborah Jo Fondren, who was the original inspiration for the model part of the story of this girl, who I met as a neighbor, became friends with, fell in love with, and eventually married. One of the two original inspirations for the actress side of it was Jane Seymour, along with Kim Basinger. Since then, of course, I have added in many additional actresses and models' works to the story as I have discovered them, and it has taken on an aspect which could not possibly be reality, unless a person has the ability to be in multiple places at the same time. So now the story has taken on a large dose of fantasy, which I went all in on after seeing the Rapunzel movie called Tangled. So the title of the story is The Brunette Rapunzel, and Me, The Brunette Rapunzel and Me, which I took from the nickname of the singer inspiration for the story, Crystal Gale. The singer part is the one side of the story that has, for the most part, remained constant from the beginning, and not exploded out of control to the extent that the actress and model sides have. There, so now you know the story behind my story, the best way that I can tell it. Alright, now, on to Jane Seymour. Specifically, you might think that on a video like this, I would focus on the obvious, most well-known things that Seymour has done in her career. But you would be wrong. After giving a brief overview that does highlight those most commonly thought of aspects, I will talk about my own personal favorite of the things she's done, which, from my extensive viewing and collection of her works, I find to be the one that I return to over and over when I want to get my Jane fix. So first, a brief overview. Jane Seymour, who was born Joyce Penelope Wilhelmina Frankenberg, that's why she changed her name to Jane Seymour, in honor of the British Queen, wife of Henry VIII. She was born on February the 15th, 1951 in Uxbridge, Middlesex, England, now part of Greater London. She is a British actress. After making her screen debut as an uncredited teenage extra in the 1969 musical comedy Oh, What a Lovely War, Seymour moved to roles in film and television, including a leading role in the television series The Oneiden Line from 1972 to 1973, the role of psychic Bond girl Solitaire in the James Bond film Live and Let Die from 1973. More about that later, a little bit more. And as Serena in the original 1978 series of Battlestar Galactica. So you can see there's a lot of choices when it came to me deciding which specific performance or movie or program that I would focus on with her. A lot of choices, a lot of good ones. Critical acclaim came with a nomination for the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Limited Series for her role in Captains and the Kings from 1976. In 1982, Seymour won her first Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Miniseries or Motion Picture Made for Television for her role in the miniseries East of Eden from 1981. She received 3 additional Golden Globe nominations in that same category. One for her portrayal of Wallis Simpson, the twice-divorced American wife of the former King Edward VIII, in the television film The Woman He Loved from 1988, and another 2 in consecutive years for her role in the miniseries War and Remembrance from 1988 to 1989. Her War and Remembrance role also garnered her a nomination for the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Miniseries or Special. Seymour also won a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Miniseries or Special for her portrayal of Maria Callas in Onassis, the Richest Man in the World from 1988. In 1993, Seymour was cast as Dr. Michaela Quinn in the television series Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, a medical drama set in 1880s Wild West. For her performance in this role over the course of its 6-season run, she received nominations twice for the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series, twice for the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Drama Series, and 4 times for the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Television Series Drama, winning one of the latter awards. She later earned a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2014, and in 2000 was appointed an Officer of the Order of the British Empire. Seymour also had roles in numerous films, including Somewhere in Time from 1980, The Scarlet Pimpernel from 1982, La Révolution Française from 1989, Wedding Crashers from 2005, Love, Wedding, Marriage from 2011, Little Italy from 2018, The War with Grandpa from 2020, and Friendsgiving from 2020. She is now starring in Harry Wild on television, but the only channel that I get that is on, or the only channel that I get that on, is French, so I have no idea what is going on in it. I'd love to know. In addition to her acting career, Seymour established a nonprofit, the Open Hearts Foundation, co-authored several children's books and self-help books, and created jewelry, scarves, furniture, rugs, handbags, paintings, and sculptures under the label Jane Seymour Designs. One of those self-help books is Jane Seymour's Guide to Romantic Living, published in 1986. And that is this book right here. Right there, Jane Seymour's Guide to Romantic Living. It's the front cover and the back cover, hardcover version of the book. Now let's see. She has been married 4 times, so she probably has a lot of experience on romantic living, I guess. First to English theater director Michael Attenborough from 1971 to 1973, when they were divorced. To Geoffrey Planer from 1977 to 1978, when they were divorced. To David Flynn from 1981 to 1992, when they were divorced. And to American actor and filmmaker James Keach from 1993 to 2015, when they were divorced. She has 4 children. Now I'm going to tell you about my favorite Jane Seymour performance. This one is from her early career, when she was, as I like to say, young and fresh and ready for action. And oh yeah, she was also switched on and a bit of all right, very shagadelic, to borrow a few British phrases from Austin Powers. This probably isn't the most well-known or popular choice, but it's my choice. My all-time favorite go-to when I am looking for a Jane fix is her performance as Princess Farah in Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger from 1977. And here is the DVD of Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. And I'm not really sure if that exact picture is ever in the movie itself, but I think it was just done for the promo of the the poster or the release. Her and Patrick Wayne there. And there's the back cover of it with a few little pictures, with one of the memorable scenes from the movie, and her and Cassim, Prince Cassim there as the baboon transformed, playing chess against each other in the movie. Right on. Yep, that is my favorite Jane Seymour movie of all of them that I've seen. So, this movie, Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger, is a fantasy adventure film directed by Sam Wanamaker and featuring stop-motion effects by Ray Harryhausen. The film also stars Patrick Wayne, son of the legendary actor John Wayne, one of my all-time favorites, John Wayne is, as Sinbad, Tyrone Power, daughter of the legendary actor Tyrone Power, and also, like Jane Seymour, a real beauty, a keeper as I like to call beautiful women with waist length and longer hair, as Dione, and Patrick Troughton as Melanthius, Dione's father. The third and final Sinbad film, released by Columbia Pictures. It follows The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad from 1958, starring the beautiful Catherine Grant, and The Golden Voyage of Sinbad from 1973, starring the lovely Caroline Munro in the similar role played by Seymour in 1977. In the movie, Sinbad the sailor sails to deliver the cursed Prince Cassim, played by Damien Thomas, brother of Seymour's character, who has been turned into a baboon by his evil stepmother, the evil powerful witch Zenobia, played by Margaret Whiting, to a dangerous island called Kazgar in the face of deadly opposition from Zenobia, her son Raffi, played by Kurt Christian, and their several monsters, including the Minotaur, played by Peter Mayhew, a magical bronze automaton created by Zenobia with the appearance of a minotaur. As the movie opens, in the kingdom of Chirac, a celebration is taking place for the coronation of Prince Cassim, but Zenobia places a curse on him just as he is going to be crowned caliph. Sinbad, a prince of Baghdad, moors at Chirac sometime later, intent on seeking permission from Prince Cassim to marry Princess Farah, but finds the city under curfew. Sinbad and his men are offered hospitality by Raffi, but during their meal one of Sinbad's crew is poisoned and the rest are attacked by Raffi. Sinbad defeats him, but Zenobia summons a trio of ghouls, which attack Sinbad and his men. Sinbad disposes of the ghouls by crushing them under a pile of huge logs. Sinbad meets with Farah, who believes that Cassim's curse is one of Zenobia's spells, and unless Cassim is cured within 7 moons, Raffi will become caliph instead. Farah's hair is done in a series of thin braids in this scene. The next morning, with Farah's freshly unbraided hair loose and blowing in the wind, Sinbad, Farah, Sinbad's crew, and a huge prehistoric baboon, who is really Cassim, transformed by Zenobia's curse, set off to find the old Greek alchemist Melanthius, a hermit on Kazgar, who is said to know how to break curses. Zenobia and Raffi follow in a boat propelled by the Minotaur. Sinbad and Farah land at Kazgar and find Melanthius and Dione, who agree to help them. Melanthius says that they must travel to the land of Hyperborea, where the ancient civilization of the Aramaspi once existed. On the way to Hyperborea, Cassim enjoys having Dione's company and develops a love interest towards her. Zenobia uses a potion to transform herself into a seagull to spy on Sinbad. Once aboard his ship, she turns into a miniature human and listens as Melanthius tells Sinbad how to cure Cassim. Alerted by Cassim, Melanthius and Sinbad capture Zenobia. However, her potion vial spills. Melanthius suspects that potion is what transformed Cassim and experiments by feeding some to a wasp. The wasp grows to enormous size and attacks him and Sinbad, but Sinbad kills it. Zenobia uses her potion to once again become a seagull and fly back to her own ship, but with not enough potion left to return to human form, the lower part of her right leg remains a seagull's foot. After a long voyage, Sinbad's ship reaches the North Polar wastelands. Sinbad and his crew trek across the ice to the land of the Aramaspi, but are attacked by a giant walrus. It destroys most of their supplies and kills 2 men, but Sinbad and the others fend it off with spears. Zenobia uses an ice tunnel to reach the land of the Aramaspi, and she, Raffi, and the Minotaur climb subterranean stairs to emerge in the warm Mediterranean-like valley above. Sinbad and his crew also reach the valley. While resting, they encounter a troglodyte, an 8-foot-tall, fur-covered, caveman-like being with a single horn on the top of its head. The troglodyte proves not dangerous, but rather friendly. The adventurers name him Trog for short, and he leads them to the giant pyramidal shrine of the Arimaspai. Zenobia and Raffi arrive at the shrine first, but as she has no key to enter, Zenobia orders the Minotaur to remove a block of stone from the pyramid's wall. He succeeds, but the block crushes the Minotaur and destabilizes the pyramid's structure, and thus the shrine's power. Sinbad and his friends arrive minutes later and enter the shrine's main chamber, the interior of which is covered in ice and is protected by the guardian of the shrine, a Smilodon frozen in a block of ice. Zenobia orders Raffi to attack Melanthius and is about to stab Dione with a knife, but Raffi is attacked by Cassim and is killed, falling down the temple stairs. Momentarily overcome with grief, Zenobia cradles her son while Sinbad and Melanthius raise Cassim into the column of light at the top of the shrine, which breaks the spell on him. Seeing Cassim restored to human form, Zenobia transfers her spirit and essence into the Smilodon, bringing it to life. Breaking free of its icy prison, the tiger, with Zenobia's spirit, attacks the group, but Trog engages it in combat, wielding Minotaur's spear. Initially gaining the upper hand, Trog is disarmed, overcome, and killed. Sinbad and his men fight against the beast, but find themselves outmatched, and one of them, Maruf, played by Salome Coker, is killed. The Smilodon attacks Sinbad, who impales it on Minotaur's spear, killing it and Zenobia. The adventurers flee the temple as it collapses, becoming buried in snow and ice as the Mediterranean-like atmosphere disappears and is replaced by the freezing polar winds. Sinbad, Cassim, Farah, Melanthius, and Dione return home just in time for Cassim to be crowned caliph. Amidst the celebration, Sinbad and Farah kiss while the film fades to black and the eyes of Zenobia appear on the screen. I know this movie gets a lot of criticism today for its dated animation, basically the same as in 1963's Jason and the Argonauts and the earlier Sinbad films also worked on by Harryhausen, but for its time it was the best available of that type, though one of the last. Then there's the wooden, uncharismatic acting by Wayne. The co-producer, Charles H. Sneer, thought that pairing John Wayne's son with Tyrone Power's daughter would result in some chemistry between them, but though they looked fine together, Sneer said, quote, "As soon as he opened his mouth, we were in trouble," unquote. But for the action and pure escapism for a couple hours, in my book it's great. I say it's great, to be honest, because to me, in this movie, Jane Seymour never looked better, and her costumes showed off her assets to great effect. For a hair guy like me, in this, Jane had the longest on-screen hair length of her entire career. In the scene where she is standing in front of the shrine, you see a rear view where it is clearly to the bottom of her butt. If you haven't seen this movie, some scenes to look out for featuring Jane include the nude sunbathing scene on the rocks just before Trog appears for the first time, ending with her great scream, a scene where the group is walking over some uneven ground and Jane trips and falls and her hair falls with her, then her struggle to fling it back into place, and a scene where the icicles are falling from the ceiling of the shrine all around her and she is shown from a high angle running on the stairs to escape. And since I didn't have time to talk about the other two movies that I would have picked for my top three, I'm just going to show these quick and mention a scene or two out of each one that I do remember quite well. This one here is called The Story of David. I believe that was a mini-series in which Jane Seymour played Bathsheba. And I believe it was an actress named Keith Mitchell, who played the main character in this movie, David, King David. And there was one scene in that movie that I still remember to this day. This movie was from 1976, I believe, was when it came out. And the scene that I do remember still to this day, it's quite memorable for me. It's a scene where Jane Seymour is bathing on a rooftop, and King David is looking down on the rooftop, watching her from afar and above. And then we have this here movie, which is a James Bond movie that Jane Seymour was in, called Live and Let Die, from 1973, also with Roger Moore as James Bond. And, of course, Jane Seymour as Solitaire. And the scene that I recall in that one was along towards the end of the movie there, where she is about to be offered up as a sacrifice in a Jamaican ritual. And she's tied to a stake, and just before she's about to be about to be, I suppose, burned and sacrificed, she is suddenly rescued from that just in the nick of time. And most of you remember that scene because she did have on a rather revealing costume, which showed off her cleavage to quite an effect in that movie, which I do recall very well. So there you go, folks. There's a little look back at Jane Seymour, who yesterday turned 75 years old, and happy birthday to her for yesterday. And I'll be back with another video soon. I'm still working on that Mickey Lolich video, and when that one's ready, I'll have that one up for you all, and we can see what that's all about. Have a good day now. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye now.